You want to go ahead and take this off now. And you do it by opening the hose bib and then twisting the little nut that's right here at the base. Oh, well, that's not good. Welcome to another episode of Ask Dad. I will be showing you how to change out a hose bib. So sometimes it's easier to just do a repair kit, and sometimes it's just easier, yank the hose bib, put some Teflon tape on, put the hose bib back on. So let's jump into the video. But at all believe that this is above your skill sets, please hire a plumber. The last thing you want to do is do something where you can't turn the water back onto your home before you're, if you have the wrong fixture or fittings. And so I always recommend or tell people, take a picture of the hose bib, get little measurements with a measuring tape or whatever you have, take pictures, go to your local hardware store, and they'll be able to help you pick out a new hose bib. And make sure you get Teflon tape. And this is for hose bibs that are threaded, that have threads on it. And I'll go ahead and show that in a minute. If it's soldered on, you're just going to have to do a repair kit. Have another video, watch how to repair a leaky or dripping faucet. But for this specific video, we will be changing out a hose bib. And so, anyway, let's jump right on in. I wanted to show a picture of this hose bib and point out a couple of things. If you'll see the hose bib here, there's threads right here, and there's a fitting right here that the hose bib threads into. So this type of hose bib you can go ahead and replace, and I will show you how to do that. And you'll need a new hose bib. You'll need to make sure it's the proper size, and I'll go over that. This one happens to be a 1/2 inch, and put Teflon tape and how to change out a hose bib. I wanted to show you how to know if you have a 1/2 inch hose bib. So you'll see there's kind of a flat side over here and a flat side right there, and I'm going to measure those. And if your measurement is just under 1 inch, or it's about at 1 inch on the fitting going into your house, you know that you need 1/2 inch threads when you go buy a new hose bib at the hardware store. Here is a hose bib that I already changed out. And so I was going to just use a measuring tape so you can see that this hose bib threads into that fitting, and that fitting, if you were to measure from the flat side on one side to the flat side on the other, is about 1 1/8 inches. And so if you pull out your measuring tape and you have a fitting that's 1 1/8 inches, you need to get a hose bib that has threads for a 3/4 inch copper pipe. Now here's a hose bib on the back side of my house, and you'll see that it has like this nut section, but it doesn't have a fitting, and you see no threads. And so this particular hose bib is actually soldered on. So with this style, if you really wanted to replace it, you're going to have to get the soldering torches and whatnot, take this off and solder on a new one. Or watch the other video I have where I repair a leaky hose bib. So this one you would do more of a repair on if you didn't want a simple replacement that threads on. So just showing you the different styles of hose bibs, even located at my own house. There are a few type of valves to turn the water off so that you can work on hose bibs. And I happen to have what's called a ball valve, very reliable. Now there's also gate valves and other types of ways to shut off water, and I'm going to show a few. But if you have an old style gate valve, I really avoid ever touching those. So this just happens to be one style that I have at my home. I do want to give a quick disclaimer on gate valves, and I'm going to show a couple of pictures of kind of old rusted ones that I would not touch, and then also show you a new one and how they work, and technically why they break. But new gate valves, or ones that you've been opening and closing, will work great. But if it hasn't been touched for quite a few years and is rusted, personally I'm not going to touch that gate valve. because I've closed a few that never opened again, and then our house is without water until we can change out the main shutoff to our house. You can see this is a gate valve, and so it just threads down, and it's like a big gate closing, kind of coming in that way. And when these are old and crudted, that stem will break, and when you go to open it back up, it won't open, and then your water is shut off at your house. Alright, so we have our new hose bib. I have Teflon tape to put on there so we don't leak. Got a couple different size of wrenches and one large pair of pliers, and there is the location of our old hose bib installed in 1985 that I will be putting a new one on in 2020. So let's get this thing started. So here's our hose bib. Again, just want to emphasize, make sure you have your water turned off. First thing I'm going to do is remove the hose, and then you've heard me emphasize it many times, always use a wrench or a pair of pliers to hold the pipe going into your house as you're twisting on or off the old hose bib or putting the new one on, because the last thing you want to do is bend this pipe or twist it or anything inside your wall, because now you're going to have bigger problems because you're going to have a leak inside your house. So let's go ahead and take this thing off. And so, you know, again, with pipe threads or with any thread, you may have heard righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, or clockwise threads it in and counterclockwise threads it out. And so you can just see this is a really old one, but we're going to put a new hose bib in there. So I got our new hose bib and I got our Teflon tape. And when we're dealing with metal pipe, it's important to put on the Teflon tape the correct way. And I do have another video that shows how to do it. And so if you want to jump to that video before you watch this, but I do loop on my Teflon tape. I go around it 8 or 10 times. I don't really count, but I just get on what I consider is sufficient. This stuff's fairly inexpensive. I like to tighten it just with my fingers so you can see the little threads. And now we're just going to go ahead and start this hose bib going clockwise, or like I was saying, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and here we're tightening it. So kind of twist with my hand for a little bit. It's getting tight, so now I'm going to grab this fitting going into my house and grab this and use the proper tools to tighten it up. Alright, let's go turn the water on and see if this bad boy leaks. Turn that hose bib off to make sure no water sprays out, and go turn the water back on. Let's turn our water back on, and I like to just kind of do it really slow. You hear it? And there we go. So we have the water back on. This is where you would see it dripping, is on the bottom right where I threaded that in. And I'm just going to go ahead and put our hose back on. We'll open the hose bib. You can hear that water's flowing through it fine. And it's super easy to turn. The other one was just super old. And that is how you install a new hose bib. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Ask Dad. This is a easy thing to do. If you have any, basic tools, Teflon tape, it's easy to change out a hose bib. Just number one priority is, if you feel like it's a little bit over your head, I say call a plumber, call a handyman. But it is something most homeowners should be able to do, and fairly simple. The hose bibs are under $10. Teflon tape's 99 cents or so. But welcome. Thanks for watching this episode of Ask Dad. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them with a video. And we'll catch you on the next one.